St. Patrick's Day is almost here, so it's time to have a definitive answer to the age-old question. Is it St. Paddy's Day or St. Paddy's Day? Plus, I'll give you 17 amazing Celtic bands that you should listen to for St. Patrick's Day. Music from Socks in the Frying Pan, Marc Gunn and Jesse Ferguson, and Blackwillow Starling. This is Folk Songs and Stories number 296.
History, forgive me for my shame, the wrongs of dear old Ireland, the oppression and the pain. There's men that fight for freedom, but I fight for love. My son was taken early and killed near Holy Grove, martyr for his country. He met with violent death, and I swore to God Almighty I pledge him my last breath. So here I stand beside the men in the echo of the guns, their 1916 rising. It's a fight for my son. Now I am of low station, in birth and life alone. This struggle's worth its waiting, the body's sure to fall. But regardless of the danger, I'll smuggle guns and bombs past British troops now stationed round streets where I was born. It was dark and I was fearful. In a din of smoke and fire, I shot an English soldier, his head above the wire. But I did not see my Michael, no ghost nor spirit rise. I'd have wept through all the fighting if custom let me cry. Bombarded to our places, with the buildings crashing round. Oh, but none among could face it, surrender to the crown. But words of consternation of children on the ground, we could not face it, so we put our weapons down. Now marching to our faith with our lives no longer bound to time and respiration. A flood of memories now, my child, I'll soon be with you, if God of light allows. Freeze this darkened history of Ireland's struggle now.
Welcome to Folk Songs and Stories. I am Marc Gunn. I am a Celtic and folk musician and also host of the Irish and Celtic Music Podcast, an hour-long radio show with some of the best indie Celtic music online. And that was Socks in the Frying Pan, That was Ireland's Struggle. It's from their album Waiting for Inspiration. That's one of the bands that I picked for one of my favorites on the Irish and Celtic Music Podcast. I asked people to vote for their favorite tracks in each episode, and that was definitely one of mine. And I think it was a bunch of people's favorites, so I think it made it into the highlight reel that's coming up in the near future. So good one to check out. They are a fantastic band out of Ireland. Head on over to CelticMusicPodcast.com to check out more music by them. If you're new to the show, please subscribe. You can do that at pubsong.com or just send an email to follow@celtfather.net. All right, it is time to answer that age-old question. St. Paddy's Day or St. Patty's Day? So, St. Paddy's Day, PADDY'S, is the shortened version of St. Patrick's Day. It is not St. Patty, Patty. Why is that? I know it's frequently confused and whatnot. Should be spelled Paddy or Patty. Paddy is a girl's name. It's short for Patricia. Paddy, Paddy, is short for Patrick, which is actually spelled Padraig in Irish. So that's where the Paddy came from. It's not. I know Patrick doesn't make any sense, which is why it's confusing here in the States when we don't know Irish and whatnot. And I know all too well. I've been working on my Duolingo app daily for the past over a month now, and I'm really proud of myself. Just a little bit each day practicing my Irish. I still do not understand how to properly look at Patrick, Padraig, and wonder why that's a K sound. I don't know, but I'll get there eventually. I'm usually pretty good with languages, but my strength has always been with the Romance languages. In any case, if you want to check out 10 more St. Patrick's Day facts, there's an episode that I released a number of years ago called 11 St. Patrick's Day Facts here on this podcast. Go check it out. There's a link in the show notes. So I learned from the Daily Difference, that is the newsletter of the Carbon Almanac, that the Episcopal Church used their environmental voice with their wallet. So back in 2015, the Episcopal Church made a commitment to divest fossil fuel investments from its holdings of around 500 million. And they honored that commitment. There's a link in the show notes just before the end of 2024. So we all have the power of our voice, our wallet, and our time to support climate initiatives. We are all in a weird position these days. There's a billionaire right now stripping government services from people who actually need them, just so he can get a huge tax cut. Whatever. No matter where you stand on that situation, I don't think there's a single person in America who think that billionaires and corporations actually need a tax cut. Let me know if I'm wrong, if you disagree with me. I don't think there's anyone in America who thinks that. Actually, I think we all think they're exploiting us and that they are, raising prices on us. It's frustrating. So sadly, we may not have the power to stop corporate entitlements, but we do have the power of our wallets. We can support businesses and organizations who are doing good things to protect the environment and protect individuals like you and me. So take a moment and think about where your money is going. If you're going to play the stock market, will you consider divesting your fossil fuel investments? I think that's a good idea. I did that with my IRA. I removed all fossil fuel investments, and I feel better about myself because of it. And if you are anti-corporation, well, then I got a song just for you. This is a song I wrote called Blue Sun. It's from my album As Long As I'm Flying. If you want to find out more about the song, there is a link in the show notes. I did an entire episode where I talked all about it. So go check that out. In the meantime, here's Blue Sun from my album As Long As I'm Flying.
They terraformed lands of many fine worlds and bloodied our hands with our boys and our girls. They offered us cans of food that curdled and piled on chains by the ton. Blue sun, another corporation with their hand on the gun. Blue sun, free yourself to run from blue sun. You see their emblem emblazoned on crates, on walls, on wounds, even on your dates. You may fall victim to their seductive gaze, or raise up your hand to shun. Blue sun, another corporation with their hand on the gun. Blue sun, our bloody fist, cut through the red tape and expunge the vile cyst that cripples our will to run. Blue sun, another corporation with their hand on the gun. Blue sun, free yourself to run from blue sun. So raise up your hand and shout to the firm. Let those who control know what it feels like to squirm. The products we won't buy, but oh, they shall burn, for this is their will undone. Blue sun, another corporation with their hand on the gun. Blue sun, free yourself to run from blue sun, another corporation with their hand on the gun. Blue sun, free yourself to run from blue sun.
I hope you enjoyed that song, and if you did, you can vote for it over on Patreon. I have a Patreon poll that I do for my albums, and I ask you to vote for some of your favorite songs on the album. It helps me to know which songs resonate. And there is a link in the show notes that'll take you over to Patreon. You can cast your vote and let me know if you enjoyed that song. You can also send me a comment, always at follow@keltfather.net. If you want to learn more about the song and how it is a anti-corporation song, I did an entire episode of it, about it over on, right on this podcast. So there's a link to it, as well as a link to a couple episodes. One is called Rebellion Songs of 2019 and Rebel Pub Songs. You might enjoy those if you're big into the Irish Rebel songs for St. Patrick's Day. All right, upcoming shows. March 16th and 17th, I will be at the Wings Cafe and Tap House in Marietta, Georgia. April 4th through 6th, I'll be at StellarFest in Duluth, Georgia. Then April 12th through the 20th, the 2 weekends, I'll be at Sherwood Faire in Texas. And then April 25th through 27th, JordanCon in Atlanta, Georgia. May 3rd, I am back at the Maggie McGuinness Pub. And then I have a whole bunch of other shows, and including a Celtic invasion of Wexford, Ireland. My hip is healing well. I had hip surgery back in January, and I am doing great right now. I went to physical therapy last week, and I just started it, and I went for 2 sessions in the week, and the physical therapist said, I think you only need to come once a week, and which means I might be even doing less than that. I've been doing a lot of exercising, trying to stay on top of things, and I feel like I've been done a great job. So, yay for me. There is a whole bunch of pictures of my Celtic invasion of Scotland's whiskey that I did last fall. And starting in the next couple of weeks, I'll be sharing pictures from my Celtic invasion of Cornwall. And there's a lot of great pictures I got there as well. I hope you'll go check those out. They're all on my blog on Patreon. And I am still planning on releasing a limited edition album pen for Come Adventure With Me. This one will be entirely wood. Still waiting to see what happens. I'm not sure all the details. I will let you know as soon as they are all ready. But I'm really excited to try out these wood album pens. Oh, and if you're not familiar with an album pen, they're a lapel pen that's themed to a particular album, and you get a digital download of the album, and then you can wear your album on your sleeve. It's a great way to support music, show off the music that you love, and also enjoy the music. So it's if you're looking for a wonderful way of doing that, check them out. Thank you, Gun Runners. Your support on Patreon is just a game changer. It's the reason I get to make music, podcasts, and all kinds of Celtic mischief. For just $5 a month, you unlock a treasure trove of exclusive unreleased songs, behind-the-scene blogs, and a massive vault of video concerts. It's like a backstage pass to all things me. Not ready to pledge just yet? No worries. Your first mission is to take care of yourself. You can still join the club for free and get weekly snapshots of my Celtic invasions, plus updates from my wild musical adventures. Either way, I'd love to have you along for the journey. Again, email follow@keltfather.net for more details. So I'm going to play another track for me. I've been cutting back on how many tracks I do of myself, play of myself on this podcast, but I realized that it's St. Patrick's month. So this is Molly Malone. I recorded it with my good friend Jesse Ferguson. He's a Celtic musician out of Canada who has been a part of the Irish and Celtic Music Podcast since almost the beginning. I asked if he would record with me for Come Adventure With Me, and we put out this track, Molly Malone. So I hope you enjoy it. Here's me and Jesse with Molly Malone.
Dublin's fair city, where the girls are so pretty, I first set my eyes on sweet Molly Malone. She wheeled her wheelbarrow through streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh. Crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh. Crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh.
She was a fishmonger, and sure 'twas no wonder, for so were her father and mother before. They each wheeled their barrow through streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh.
Alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh. Crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh. Crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Well, she died of a fever.
And no one could save her.
That was the end of sweet Molly Malone.
Now her ghost wheels her barrow
Through streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh. Crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh. Crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh. Crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh. Crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh.
If you want to find out more about Jesse Ferguson, I interviewed him for the Irish and Celtic Music Podcast. He has a brand new album out. It's called 10, and he talks a lot more about it on the podcast. And there's a link to that episode in the show notes. Please leave a comment on the podcast show notes at pubsong.com or wherever you are listening. You can also message me on Facebook, email me, send me pictures of where you're listening, and email follow@celtfather.net. Oh, I am on Blue Sky too now, so check that out. All right, 17 Celtic bands that you should listen to this St. Patrick's Day. So as you know, I do host the Irish and Celtic Music Podcast, and I've been doing it for almost 20 years. 20 years in July. It's incredible. This podcast actually started a few days before it, and it too has been going for almost 20 years, and I'm so excited. But I found all these great Celtic bands, and what I want to share with you right now are 17 Celtic bands that I think you'll enjoy if you are looking for good singers and songs, folk music for St. Patrick's Day. Celtic folk music, I should point out. Number one on the list is the Gothard Sisters. I love these wonderful women. They are out of the Pacific Northwest. They're doing amazing things. Go check them out. There will be links to all the bands in the show notes. Find links to their websites. Kinnfolk is number two. Kinnfolk, they're out of Virginia, and they are just killing it. Another band that I just interviewed on the podcast, so you want to go check that out at CelticMusicPodcast.com. Number three, the Langer's Ball. One of the bands that I picked for bands you should keep an eye open. They're killing it. They also have started using album pens as well. I haven't checked in to see how they're doing, but so all the things I've heard have been really good. So we'll see how it goes. Number four, Jesse Ferguson, who I talked about earlier. Fantastic singer. As you know, he does folk songs, all different styles and types, and he's just a powerful, strong voice. It's great to check out. Number 5, Blackwillow Starling. I'll be playing them in a little bit. They are a folk band. They also, I think the singer, the male singer in the group, he also plays with a Celtic rock band called Riley. But this is a duo that he is with, and they just sound wonderful. So go check them out. Number 6, Socks in the Frying Pan. We kicked off the show with them. Well worth checking out. Matt and Shannon Heaton are number 7. They do largely instrumental music, but they do have a number of songs as well. They're just amazing. Number 8, the Byrne Brothers, another one of the bands that was part of the Best of 2024 episode of the Irish and Celtic Music Podcast. They started off playing, busking in the streets in Ireland, and now they are blowing up all along the East Coast. Number 9, Cherish the Ladies, another band that is really fantastic. I did an interview with them last fall on the Irish and Celtic Music Podcast. Took me a while to work it out because Joni is so busy, but she has created a project that's been going for, I forget now, 40 years, I think. All women and a lot of instrumentals, but also some spectacular vocals. Highly recommend them. Number 10 is Sorsha, another new band to the podcast. They have just been, not only do I like the name of the band, but I also just like what they're doing. They just are doing some great things, and I'm really excited to see how things go with them. Number 11, the Drowsy Lads. They are, I had them so much on the podcast last year. They have a bunch of albums, and they just are fantastic. Someone recommended them on the podcast. I reached out. They responded, and I've been thrilled with it ever since. Number 12, Celtic Wood and Wires, a fairly new band for me. I know they also have a new duo. I forget their band name, but it's just delightful music. I found them and got really excited, so stay tuned for more of them. Number 13, the Friel Sisters. I interviewed them on the Irish and Celtic Music Podcast, and they have some just spectacular vocals. I highly recommend you go check them out. I'm running out of time, so I gotta race through this. Number 14 is Enda Riley, a songwriter originally out of Ireland. He's now, I think, living in the Midwest. And there are, as far as songwriters, he is writing Irish songs, and he's just great. I really love what he's writing, so check it out. Number 15 is the Har. They are out of Ireland, and they do a nice twist on traditional Irish songs and tunes. You gotta hear it. You gotta hear the Har. I love what they're doing. Number 16 is Tratify. This is a band that I feel like is going to be doing a lot too in the days to come. I highly recommend them. It's a 3-piece group, and I think they are working on a new album, so stay tuned for that. Number 17 is Pochin out of the Czech Republic. They have also been on the Irish and Celtic Music Podcast for years, and I love the band. They're just wonderful. So keep an eye open for them. And I'm going to pimp my band, the Brobdingnagi and Bards, because we are finishing up a new album. It is called Another Faire to Remember. Should be out this fall, but we have a lot of great Irish songs, so you will enjoy the music. If you haven't heard our version of the Unicorn song, you will enjoy it, but there's so much more than that. So go check out all these bands, 17 great bands to check out for St. Patrick's Day. All right, to finish up, today's show is brought to you by my Celtic Invasion Vacations. Every year, I take a small group of people on a relaxing adventure to one of the Celtic nations. We don't see everything. Instead, we stay in one area. We get to know the region through its culture, history, and legends. You can join me with an auditory and visual adventure through blogs, podcasts, videos, and photos. And this summer, we're going on a Celtic invasion of Wexford, Ireland. I still have a couple slots open, so head on over to CelticInvasion.com to sign up for the mailing list and find out more. All right. My time ran out, so I have to go. But we're going to finish up with music from Blackwillow Starling. This is Maddie Groves. It's from their self-titled debut album.
Holiday, the first one of the year. Lord Donald's wife came into the church, gospel for to hear. When the meeting it was done, she cast her eyes about. There she saw Maddie Groves walking in the crowd. Come home with me, little Maddie Groves, come home with me tonight. Come home with me, Maddie Groves, to sleep with me tonight. servant standing by, hearing what was said, swore O'Donnell he would know before the sun would set. In his hurry to carry the news, bent his breast and ran. When he came to the broad mill stream, took off his shoes and swam. Little Matty Groves, he lay down to take a little sleep. When he woke, Lord Donald was standing at his feet, saying,
How do you like my feather bed? How do you like my sheet? How do you like my lady who lies in your arms asleep?
Well, I like your feather bed, and well, I like your sheet, but better I like your lady gay who lies in my arms asleep.
Well, get up,
Lord Donald cried.
get up as quick as you can. It'll never be said in fair England I slew a naked man.
I can't get up, I won't get up, I can't get up for my life, for you have two long beaten swords, I not a pocket knife.
It's true, I have two beaten swords. They cost me deep in the purse. You will have the better of them, I will have the worse. You will strike the very first blow and strike it like a man. I will strike the very next blow. I'll kill you if I
can. So Matty struck the very first blow, and he hurt Lord Donald sore. Lord Donald struck the very next blow. Matty struck no more. Then Lord Donald took his wife, sat her on his knee, saying,
Who do you like the best of us, Matty Groves or me?
Then up spoke his own dear wife, never heard to speak so free. I'd rather a kiss from dead Matty's lips than you or your finery. Lord Donald, he chopped up a loudly heated bow, struck his wife right through her heart, pinned her against the wall.
A grave,
Lord Donald cried,
to put these lovers in, but bury my lady at the top.
She was a noble king.
Thanks for listening to Folk Songs and Stories. This episode was edited by Mitchell Peterson. It was produced by Marc Gunn and my Gunrunners on Patreon. Follow my Patreon blog for free updates and to listen to the podcast. Sign up to my mailing list for monthly updates and to discover where I'm performing. Please tell one friend about the podcast. Word of mouth is the absolute best way to support any creative endeavor. And remember, reduce, reuse, recycle, and talk with others about how you can make a positive impact on climate change and your community. Have fun and sing along at pubsong.com.